Yes, now ladies and gentlemen, I'm back. Maybe I'm back. I don't know if I'm officially back. But I just thought I'd make this video because I want you a life update. Well, elephant in the room. I am in a car. I'm driving a car. And I think last time I mentioned anything about a car, it was my theory test, passing my theory test. Let's just break down the story, right? So for a while, I have been learning to drive. For a while. And in the UK, it's different to America. Obviously, the age of 17 is when you get to learn to drive. And I always wanted to learn to drive as early as I possibly could, to be honest. And I turned 17 in 2024, September of 2024. It wasn't until the end of December I decided to actually start doing it, and 2nd of January, I think it was, something like that, of 2025, I had my first ever driving lesson. As it happens, that was the exact day my dad lost his car and never got one back. But luckily my dad is a pensioner here in the UK, so he gets free bus pass, so he never got his car back. So I didn't have a car to practice in. So I had to go through a driving school. And I went through a driving school, and I'm going to out them here, but I'm not going to name specific names, but I'm going to out them here. I went through a school called Pass and Go. A very popular school, probably one of the biggest schools here in Newcastle. I'm not sure about the whole of England, but I went through them because they seemed like a legitimate school. And obviously my older sister, she'd had problems with them before, but I just thought, you know what, screw that, not gonna happen to me, right? It's not gonna happen again. And the very first instructor I had on this very day in January of 2025, it was during the school holidays, right? So I was at college, in my first year at college, and I booked it at a time. I booked it for a Tuesday morning. Now typically Tuesday morning I would have been busy, right? Because college at that time was Monday, Tuesday and Friday, and then those days that I wasn't at college, I was at work. I was at work the other 4 days of the week, so I was busy 7 days of the week, but only in the mornings, because work I only worked up till 12 because I work a morning job. I'm not going to tell you what I do because I don't want people stalking me. So that instructor on that very first lesson said, well, if you're only booking this because it's the holidays and you're not typically going to be available at this time, our schedules aren't going to match. You're going to have to get a new instructor. So that's what I did. I went through the process of getting a new instructor, and that took a month and a half. And I got my second instructor, and he was good, and he seemed to teach me a lot better than this first guy did. Now, obviously, I only had this first guy for one lesson, but the second guy just seemed to explain things a lot better. And at this point, it's February, right? So I've been 17 for about 6 months at this point, which is kind of like the point I wanted to be passing. So I need to start taking things seriously. And one thing I'd been told by my dad, by previous instructors, was always do your theory, get your theory out of the way, because then you can book your test as early as you want. For whatever reason, I didn't listen to that because I wasn't confident, and I decided I want to learn every bit of my theory before I even book my test, so I don't risk failing it. Well, I didn't realize this. I didn't need to do that. So, I spent months, the first 4 months of me learning to drive with that instructor from February to June, still learning my theory and not booking a theory test. I eventually went to book my theory test. It didn't give me that theory test till August, so 6 months into my driving course, roughly the time where I should be ready to be passing a test, right? Ridiculous, I know. So I passed that theory test in August first time because I couldn't mess that one up, because that would guarantee me driving longer. So August, and I knew because in the UK right now it is a crisis for driving tests. I absolutely knew how ridiculous it was going to be to get a test. I knew it was a 6 month wait, and that's exactly what I got. I got given 6 months. I got given February of 2026. So at this point, a whole year plus of me driving, right? So 6 months into me learning to drive with this guy, I've passed my theory. Now my practical's finally booked, and as my practical's booked and we're leading into winter months, and well, autumn months, even in the winter months, I had this guy lesson. Here's the thing with Pass and Go, is it's a booking system, right? Bear in mind, driving lessons are expensive, right? We're talking £35 an hour, but each lesson's 2 hour lessons. They don't do 1 hour lessons, so it's 70 quid a lesson. And the system is very hard to work. So I used to book a block of 10 at one point, so every 5 or 6 weeks I was paying out 350 quid, which at my age of 17 in my job was a lot of money. So to cost that much money, that was hard enough. But also, you weren't the only client that person would have. So it would be very hard to get lessons. You know, you'd probably get 1 a week. You might get 2 a week, but sometimes you go 2-3 weeks without lessons. So it would mean when you get to your next lesson, you're rusty and you need to remember the stuff you learned 2-3 weeks ago. And you spent a lot of the lessons correcting mistakes you've made countless times again and never learning things. And this driving instructor wasn't very good, I'll be honest. I know he said he taught us better than the last guy, but the guy didn't care. He always told us about how he was starting to go part-time. He's been a driving instructor for like 40 years, but he was going part-time now, and he's ready to retire. And the guy just didn't care. Sometimes he was on his phone, you know, mental, right? So it's just like, it is what it is. It is what it is, right? That's what I thought. Until it just, we're getting closer and closer to the test, and this guy, I'm probably thinking December, this guy's not turned up countless times, like not even dropped me like sometimes they drop me a message before, like, oh, I can't do lesson today because this has come up, I can't do lesson today because I'm unwell, whatever, right? Because we do the same. If we're unwell, we don't want to do a driving lesson. Driving lessons are hell. 2 hours of driving when you don't know how to drive and you're petrified on the road, your back kills, you're mentally drained. I don't want to do anything else the rest of the day. It absolutely kills my mood, right? But there was so many times this guy would just show up and not say anything. Sorry, the other way around. Not show up and not say anything. Like, I'd be standing outside my house, right, for half an hour. You know, he's meant to meet me at, let's say, 3 o'clock. I'd still be standing there at 3:30, like, where the fuck is this guy? So he'd just ditch, you know, and sometimes he wouldn't even, he'd claim the money for it. Because I do not work for Passing Go. I do not work for the web designers, no, any of those technical bullshit. Because even though I'm young, I am bad with technology, right? I don't know how none of this shit works. He's still claiming money, apparently, right? So it got to December, right? And towards the end of December, I had 1 lesson booked. He didn't show up for it, and I thought, well, whatever. It's near Christmas. I'm going to take a couple weeks off for Christmas anyway. I'm not even going to think about driving. And then after Christmas, we had 1 lesson booked. Didn't show up. I thought, that's it. Final straw. So I hit up Pass and Go again, and they give me a third instructor. This third instructor showed up. Bearing in mind, a week and a half before my test was booked. My test was booked for like 26th of February or something. I got this guy early, maybe mid-February. It wasn't good, right? And this guy thought I was a new driver. I hadn't told him nothing. So I had to explain the situation to my new driver. My new driver said, look, we'll see how you are driving. And of course, he didn't think I was ready for the test, because this last instructor did not teach me very well. And he went through my name on the system, and he saw loads of stuff this last instructor was doing wrong, like not showing up and then claiming we'd done a lesson when we hadn't, you know, and all sorts of, so whatever. And with him pointing this all out and sympathizing with me, immediately I connected with this instructor a lot better. And this instructor taught me a lot more than the previous instructors. So obviously, he didn't think I was ready for my test. So I had to rebook it. And then I rebooked it, and I got given, I think it was August, which, August. Bear in mind, I passed my theory test last August, and they wanted me to do my practical test in August. Not fun. I managed to go on a cancellation app just before they were abolished and move that forward to June. As it happens, the day I got moved it forward to was a week after my current instructor, the third instructor that I was on now, was on holiday. He wasn't on holiday when the test was, but literally, he came back literal days before. So we knew we had to be ready at least 2 weeks before. And the lesson we had right before he went on holiday wasn't a good performance from me. And he thought, look, if I'm going to be gone a week and a half, we're not going to have a lesson up until your test. You're going to be rusty going to your test. You're not going to do going to your test. I'm not prepared to take you for your test. You can still go, because it's not up to him whether I go. And I could rent a car and all sorts of stuff. So that's kind of what I was going to have to do, because this guy wasn't going to take me for my test. So I spoke to my dad about potentially renting a car. My dad necessarily didn't want to, because he hasn't driven in a year and a half. Because like I said, he had his free bus pass, you know, and he didn't want the stress of trying to get me past my test, which is fair. Do you know what? Fair enough, you know what I mean? So what we did was, bearing in mind we had about a week and a half until my test, we started ringing up all sorts of private companies, and we got a private company. I'm going to shout them out because they got me past my test. It was Steve Mansell. Was that name? Steve Mansell, I'm pretty sure. Pretty much in the Gateshead area type thing. a smaller company. I don't know if it was private, but it was a smaller company. And I got in that car and I was driving a Volkswagen Polo. It was a diesel. My first time driving a diesel. I drove petrol this whole time, so I had to have a quick adjustment. But this guy was 10 times a better instructor than any of the instructors I've ever had. And I'm not even throwing shade at the last instructor I had before that, my third pass and go instructor, because he was very good. He was very good. But this guy was exceptional. And within a week, we did like 4 intensive lessons in 1 week, which is good, you know, because that's what I couldn't get with pass and go. I couldn't get consistent lessons. And he gave me that. He gave me 4 4-hour lessons on the week of my test and prepared us for it. And then I passed first time, you know, and he has me thinking I've been driving a year and a half, dead insecure about everyone passing a test, everyone having a car, everyone my age surpassing me. Bearing in mind, everyone my age, like the people who I went to school with in my year, I was born in September, so that's the start of the school year. I was one of the oldest. I turned 18 first. I was one of the first ones with tattoos, and I just felt like I wanted to be driving first, and I wasn't, and that hurt, you know. And yes, the only thing is about ego and pride, and I've had to teach myself a lot about that over this past year. But yeah, finally got past it first time as well, so that's great. And first time for driving for a year and a half is insane. But yeah, so once I passed, it was about getting a car, and obviously I'm only 18. You can't expect me to earn a lot of money. I earn more than what I once did. I work hard. I work 5 to 6 days a week. I'm doing my best, you know, and I certainly have more than what I used to, and I'll get into that later. But I also always knew my dad wanted a car, right? Because as much as he has a free bus pass and he doesn't want to pay the money because he's a pensioner and the government has not been kind to us in recent years, and I knew he didn't want the cost that comes with a car. So I had a genius idea. I said, Father, I want to buy a car. I've saved up money for a long time. I want to buy a car. You want a car. Oh, well, you want a car to use, so you don't have to wait for buses all the time and sit on the bus with all the yobbos and all sorts of crap, right? Yobbo is a term for, like, chavs, you know, like people who cause ruckus. You know, there's lots of those on buses, especially the ones in Gateshead. Absolutely not. Anyways, I said, how about I get you on the insurance so you could drive my car and it makes it cheaper for me, and then you can just pay your bit of the insurance, you know? And we went through all this sort of stuff, and it turns out my dad's now the owner of the car, but I paid for the car. I paid for the car. I paid for the insurance, and I've paid for the what's the thing? First year of tax. That's what I paid for. And my dad will probably pay something further down the line, or he paid for the first full tank of diesel. So yeah, we're kind of going split on a car, and I got a very good car. We went to Arnold Clark, where we got a used car because we're gonna get it a bit cheaper, but also want a quality car, so that's why we went to Arnold Clark. And I got myself a red Renault Capture, which is a very good car for a first car. If you've seen the size of it, like, it's a very big car. Well, I say very big, it's a big car. Unbelievably fortunate to have this as my first car. It was absolutely worth the wait. So yeah, I'm just buzzing. I've had it for a couple of days, and I've non-stop wanted to drive it, and I'm scared because my petrol's, well, when my diesel runs out, I don't want to top it up and then pay 60 quid again to top it up. Like, oof, that's a lot of money, you know. I'm hoping Andy Burnham does something about this. Come on, Andy, man. It's supposed to be fucking labour. What? Okay. Anyways, yeah, so, God, I'm absolutely sweating in this car. Does anyone know how to turn an AC on without turning the... Because if I turn the engine on, I'm wasting my petrol, but at the same time, I want my AC on. But let's get into where I've been. As you can see, I've not done YouTube in a while, and I used to upload daily. And I've been gone for a while, and I've been gone, I don't know how long. I might have uploaded a video here and there over on my Rants channel, because I try to get by anyway, but it's just been hard. And I want to give you the real reason. And again, I don't want to go into too much detail, because I don't want to harm people, you know. I don't want to cause commotion. I'm not a controversial or a confrontational person. I'm just me, right? But essentially, if you've watched my channel before, or if you see any previous videos that are either vlog style, I might have mentioned a girlfriend, you know. Essentially in February, I went through a breakup, right? I'd been with my girlfriend for many years, since we were 15, for 3 years, almost, not quite, but just under 3 years, and that relationship ended. Don't want to say been depressed about it, but shit's been pretty hard. Went through a big mental battle, let's just call it. And a lot of things in life have changed now, you know. I did mention more money. Well, I only got myself took after now, you know. And me personally, I'm a very boring guy. I don't spend money on a lot of stuff. A lot of times I finish work and I go home and I do nothing. So sometimes I keep all my money that I make in a week. Which won't be the case now that I have a fucking car, of course, because you pay 5 different payments on a fucking car, and I'm going to lose all that money. But it is what it is, right? So there's the good side to it. There's I have the money, I have the freedom, right? But there's also just the lonely side to it, right? Because there used to be a problem when I was in a relationship that I couldn't find time to do my hobbies, like going to the gym, like doing YouTube videos, stuff that I'd been doing since the age of 14, 13, you know. And then when I got into my relationship at 15, found it hard to balance both of them. And I always thought, you know, it was the relationship was kind of holding me back. And obviously this was not the reason I ended the relationship, by the way. That completely personal between me and the person why it ended, right? But I'm just spitballing here, right? And now that I was single, I kind of thought these things would get prioritized. I kind of thought I'd be doing YouTube a bit more, you know. No, I didn't want to start the car. I just wanted the AC. We'll do it for now. Yeah, and it's kind of just not been like that. I kind of had to learn to live on my own, cope on my own. This engine's too noisy for you, isn't it? I don't care. I've kind of had to learn to live and cope on my own. And it's been hard to do YouTube. It's been putting me off, you know. I've not really found the motivation. Not really been too happy with myself. And every time I've wanted to make a YouTube video, there's just been no motivation. There's been nothing about it that I want to do. And there's been nothing about anything I've wanted to do. I'd kind of just work and then go home and do nothing, which has never been me, because I'd always be doing something. I'd always be doing one of my hobbies, or I'd be seeing someone, you know. And I'm not. And that's the hard part. And as well, and what I want to do, what I could have been spending my time doing, and one of the pastimes that I wanted to do to help cope was socialise. And like, that's becoming even harder because everyone my age is in a big transitional period. People are going off to university, people are going on holidays, people are doing their driving, people are doing their hobbies, you know. It's very hard, you know. Like, if I was 16 and this happened to me, I'd just be able to go out and socialise all the time and not worry about a thing. That's not been the case, you know. It's been harder for me to socialise. It's been harder for me to do the things I love, like doing YouTube, you know. And I want to get into music because music was one of the biggest things that helped me get through this situation. And I'm still not even through the situation, you know. It's been about 5 months. Life's still hard, and I don't know when it's going to improve, if it does. But music was just like a therapeutic thing, and I think music is therapy for everyone. And I did want to go back to making music. I'd made music once before when I was 14, and I'm not going to tell you what the song is because it's embarrassing. But I've always had a deep love for music, and I always wanted to do music. And I don't want to sound like one of those guys who just wants to do everything and just be a celebrity that's good at everything. But like, I truly do have passions for these things like YouTube and music. And it got me thinking, like, it's a good way to express myself and just kind of put the trauma that I've kind of had out there. But again, even that's hard because how do I do that? You know what I mean? Like, I've got no idea how to make beats. I don't like the idea of buying beats because there's loads of licensing issues that come with that. But I also want the authenticity of making my own music. I could probably write, that would be the easiest part for me, but even then, like, I've got to be in a specific headspace, and when I'm in that specific headspace, I don't have the motivation for things. Yeah, so that's really hard. And YouTube's one of those things where it's like, I can't see my life feeling any better while I'm not succeeding at something, while I'm not getting anywhere in life. And YouTube was my gateway to do that, because once I become successful on YouTube, I would have money and resources, and I would be able to get help with making music. I'd be able to get help with going to a boxing gym and start boxing, or going to a wrestling gym and start wrestling, all that other hobbies and things I want to do with my life, you know. And music, YouTube used to be the main thing, and I've never took the song off YouTube ever since I started it when I was 14, and here I am, 5 months and nothing. You know, there might have been an odd video here and there, but crap one. You know, and I kind of wanted to let you know why. I've not even given full context about everything there. You know, that's a very vague answer from me, but it's one at least. I kind of thought, you know, I'd take some time off, I'd reevaluate everything, because I didn't like the state of my YouTube channels. I didn't like the way they looked, what I'd done on them, you know, what they were about. So I've reevaluated them all. As you know, I have this channel, Thomas Rants and tankNiplz. Thomas Rants, I talk WWE, I talk boxing. Well, it used to be the WWE Misfits boxing, but don't really talk about Misfits boxing anymore because it kind of fell off. I don't really like it anymore. WWE has fell off like immensely for me as well. I still enjoy WWE, but it's really bad. It's really hard to watch right now, let alone make videos on. I did try and make one for Night of Champions, but I pulled it out because I just thought, nah, not doing it. So eventually I'll get back into that and I'll make it. And I do want to make music on that channel. I'm going to make videos about music on that channel as well. I just need to get back into it, because that's a very easy channel, because that doesn't matter about the views. Like, that is something for me where I'm just talking about things that I enjoy, like wrestling, boxing, and music. You know what I mean? Like, I could sit there and rant about that stuff all day because I like that stuff. I genuinely have a passion for it. tankNiplz, I used to just upload clips from my Xbox, you know, like just small gaming clips, like 1 or 2 minutes where I did something cool or something funny happened, and I just wanted to do it just as a little cool artsy collection. And I tried to upload the proper gaming concepts, like the playthroughs, on this channel, and I just kind of decided it's a bit all over the place, you know. So I've decided to move every single video involving a game over to the tankNiplz channel. YouTube's now got this lovely collaboration feature that I've now used to put all my previous gaming videos on the tankNiplz channel, which I'm actually still in the process of doing. But any future gaming videos that happen, which might not be a lot because I don't have that much of a passion for gaming anymore as well, you know, and I don't like recording them, they will go on the tankNiplz. Now I want to save this for more vlogging / lifestyle type videos, you know. Probably vlogs, because my life is not that interesting that I can vlog anything that important or make any. I've not got the resources to make any conceptual videos, but maybe I might have a couple concepts here and there. Like, I've thought about doing ratings and reviews of like food and drink products, because who can't eat and drink? I can eat and drink for days, you know, and I'd love to. But maybe just a vlog channel. Maybe I'll be most active on doing vlogs. And I've kind of thought about it because I love the idea of video making, and I've always wanted to be a YouTuber, but I've never cared for making the videos about concepts, you know. I've always just liked the personality in videos. For example, so my biggest inspirations in YouTube are sidemen, and everyone that surrounds the sidemen, you know, like the fellas, you know, and, well, you got Cal Freezy, AB, Chip, Calix, all them people, you know what I mean? That whole UK YouTube scene there, and they make all sorts of videos. There's all types of videos involved with these people. There's vlogs, there's games, there's concepts, there's challenges, there's podcasts. There's also, I just want to be in that sphere where I can just make something, you know, and put my personality out there. And me personally, I just want to be a personality, you know. I'm not too bothered about the concept of video I make. I'd be proud if I could make a cool concept video, but I don't enjoy gaming videos. I'm not good at them, and my editing isn't good either, you know. I'd be better as a vlogger. I vlog in my life because I feel like my quality is my character, and not to sound too egotistical, but that just is. I'm not particularly good at anything, and I'm not even funny either. So that's not even the type of character I'm talking about. Just my passion and my thought process and the way I view life, I feel like, is what I want to portray through my videos, and I want to use my videos as a platform to get my name out there and make music, because music is a big passion of mine. And again, I don't necessarily enjoy making it, I just want to make it. I want to make music because I love it, you know. So I'm not quite sure what I want to do in my life, but I just don't know. I just know I don't want to work an ordinary job the rest of my life, because I can't, because I've grew up without money, you know. I've grew up in an ordinary world, and it's like there's no fulfillment for me. And the last 2 years I was content. Whatever happened, I was content, because I had a partner, I had friends, I had so much to be grateful for, and like, I still have friends. I have a freaking car. I have lots to be grateful for, but without my partner, again, I'm not trying to milk it, but just without that, I feel lost. And it's just like, what do I do with my day? I've got so much I can do, but I don't want to do anything. I've got no motivation to do anything but maybe socialize or do something fulfilling, like making YouTube or making music, which again, I don't have the effort or motivation to do. And I feel like me becoming successful at something like that, and like, yes, money doesn't buy happiness, and I can't turn my life around just because I'm rich, and that's not even what I want. Even if I was just slightly wealthy, but I had the resources to do extra shit in my life, go on trips and make something of my life that isn't just working a job and going home to myself. That's the only way I feel like I get validation now, because I don't have that person. Like, I am just my own person now. My life is about me. So it's like, what am I going to do with it? Well, I don't want to keep working. I love my job, by the way. The job I currently have, I love my job. I love my colleague. Like, but it's not a job I can work the rest of my life. Simply because of just the income. Sorry about that the other day when I was recording. The sunlight overheated my phone. It's not a sunny day, not as hot. It's always hot in this car. Because I'm pretty sure when we got it, this AC was fucked. It's not fucked. The AC works, but I'm pretty sure it gave us a bad throat, which I'm still coughing from. And it's not really that cool, to be honest, but it is what it is. Sweating every time I drive. Who cares? You know what I mean? Anyways, yeah, just to finish off what I was saying there, you know, it's just kind of finding my purpose in life. I'm happy with my job, you know, and I don't particularly care for having a particularly important job, as long as I have enough money to get the things I need and the things I like, and to do the things in life that I want, then I'm content. Obviously, like, I don't have that money right now. Like, there's lots of stuff I want to do in my life that I don't have the type of money for now anyway, but it works for now. Like, I'm not too stressed on that side of things, you know. I'm not worried about what career I'm doing. I'm not worried about having a career, because I've been to school, and the whole educational system, it's not for me, you know. And I spent 2 years at college and didn't even finish the second year because it just wasn't for me. And I did PT. I did something I thought I'd be into, because I'd been going to gym since I was 14, and gym was sensational for me. Gym was a life changer, because up until that age of 13, when I started working out in my bedroom, I was pretty fucking useless, you know. I was a useless kid. I thought I was chubby. I wasn't really chubby, but I was just chubbier than my siblings, who were very skinny, you know. And I wasn't really good at anything. I was quite clever. Like, I was good at like maths and that in primary school, but I wasn't really good at anything, you know what I mean? And when you get to high school, and when I first started high school, that's when COVID hit, so we spent most of it indoors. Like, you compare yourself to everyone else, and it's like, when I was 13, I started working out in my bedroom, and I lost that bit of weight and I gained that bit of muscle, and it was the first thing I ever felt good at, and it was the first bit of proper motivation I've ever had to ever chase any sort of I want out of this life, you know what I mean? Like, that's what made me go, I want to, you know, I've watched YouTube growing up. It's been my biggest entertainment growing up, and I've always thought I want to live the life of a YouTuber. Why don't I just live my dream and just try and be a YouTuber? Like, I know I'm not going to be good at it. I know I can't edit. I know I've not got recording, and I know nothing about recording. I know nothing about the production of YouTube. Still to this day, I'm still figuring out stuff about the production of YouTube videos, you know. But I thought, fuck it, why not start? And it kind of became a thing, you know. Between 14 and 15, like, I was living my best life, doing YouTube, going to the gym. I even made a song. Like I said, I was getting into music, and I had friends. Well, I had all my friends. I was in high school. Everyone knew me. Not necessarily in that way, but like, lots of people had negative opinions towards me, but I was social everywhere I went, you know. And I had a girlfriend, like I said, that just, my life felt like it was just beginning, you know. And I finally found purpose, and it's like, ever since I left high school things like shit really got real. Like financially, shit got harder. Like, yeah, I got a job, things got easier for me financially, but in terms of my family, like, I had to become much more independent financially. And then shit in the relationship got hard, and then there's no relationship. You lose friendships, and you stop doing things. Because when I was in my relationship, I stopped going to the gym as much. I became a bit more lazy, and like, I kind of kept up with my YouTube, and I got somewhat better at it, but I felt more insecure about it. It's just like shit got really real, and I really got humbled in these last few years. And like, I don't think I was ever an arrogant person or a cocky or an egotistical person. I was quite overconfident at times, but it came from a good place. But even then, I still really got humbled in these last year and a half, really. So yeah, I've noticed something about me, and I just realised I'm wired different. And like, it sounds so cringe to say, and I know it does, but that's just kind of me. Like, I've spent my whole life debating, like, why do you think this way when other people think this way? Why do you like this when other people like this? Why do you do this when other people do this? Why can't you do this when other people can do this? I just realised that I'm just wired differently. And like, I can be content with the things I have, but I need a purpose, you know? And my purpose is never just going to be a regular career. My purpose, I need to be fulfilling something I'm passionate about, truly passionate about. And I'm talking YouTube, like, and I'm talking music, and it's not just because I'm passionate because I want to be a rich YouTuber. I'm passionate because, like, I love the entertainment side of it, and like, that's the thing that's brought me happiness for years, so I want to do it. And it's the same with music hits every deep part of my soul, and there's just so much about it I want to do. Like, think of the feeling of like performing. For example, when I went on a school trip when I was 15, bear in mind this was peak life, right, 2023, I went to this thing called God Camp, right? And it was a bit of a religious thing, but I wasn't that religious. But it was vibes anyway. You didn't have to, you know, really be too deep into the religious stuff. There was music going on. There was an artist called Governor B, who performed there. There was an artist called Adenike who performed there, and loads of people were going up on stage to do karaoke. And I got offered the opportunity to go up, and I performed an Eminem song in front of 500 people. And it just, obviously it sounds stupid because loads of other people did karaoke, but like, one of the artists who we'd spoke to earlier on the day with my teacher had really like took notice of my interest, and she thought, I'll get you an opportunity to go up on that stage and do Eminem. And the post is on my Instagram. Go see my Instagram, ThomasN_1807. The post is there. I performed it, and like, that for me was the first little taste of like, it was adrenaline, because I was shitting myself. I was absolutely shaking up. I was like, I can't believe I'm about to do this. I'd literally dropped the cup of water I had because I was shaking that much. But when I had that feeling of performing, and loads of people, like, my friends didn't know I was going up, and then my friends seen was like, what the hell's going on? And then loads of people come up to you afterwards like, oh, yo, that was cool. People I'd never spoken to, you know, want to take pictures with us. That was my first little taste of like, that's the life I want. Not just the attention, but just the general good feeling that gives you, you know, that, is it adrenaline? That those feel good emotions like that, like moments like that. That's what I live for. Like, I need something like that out of my life. I need something that I can put into the universe, you know. I need something that I can put into my life, something I can say, I can look at and go, look what I did, you know. And like, I'm not saying people who have careers can't do that, because they absolutely can. It just depends what you're into, you know. And like, I'm sure there's people who dream of being car salesmen, who sell their cars and like, look what I've done, look at those cars I've sold. And that's all. That's what it's about, you know what I mean? That's just not for me. So that's why I wanted to just do this documentation, because I don't want to give up YouTube, but I want this to be a part of my story. When one day this is successful, or I've made music and music is successful, we can look back at this and go, I was authentic, you know, like this was my story from the beginning, and I'm just a real person. I'm like everyone else. I literally come from the very bottom, like no money, nothing. I've come from the very bottom. I didn't grow up in a wealthy family. I've had no help. And from the ages of 17 and 18, I've hit rock bottom mentally, genuinely. And like, I don't feel like the feelings I felt will ever be portrayed, because I'm not very good at translating things. That's why I ramble on for so long, because I'm trying to get the words out that I need to get out, but it never seems to justify what I'm saying. maybe one day I'll make such a good song that will portray that, but we can only dream. Anyways, I don't think the feelings I've felt will ever be felt, but I want to document them, because I want this to be documented, my story, my arc, where I've come from and where I'm gonna get. So, and while I'm struggling to kind of find my feet with YouTube, I might as well do this on this channel, since I've moved all the games over to tankNiplz and all the talking of wrestling, music, and maybe even boxing over on the Thomas Rants. This channel needs something, and yes, there will be probably creative style, lifestyle videos, maybe some reviews of, I don't know, drinks. I wanna do drinks, you know, stuff like that, you know, stuff that typical UK YouTubers do. And I don't want to straight up just copy concepts. Like, I do want to have my own creative ones, but that's going to take a while to come up with. And I don't think this channel should suffer because of it, because vlogging is completely authentic. No one copies vlogging, you know what I mean? Like, vlogging is subjective to each and every person that does it. So my vlogs are going to be my vlogs, and it's going to be my life and authentic. And I feel like right now, that's the best thing going on, is the story of my life. That's the best thing that's going on right now. It's the best thing I can offer, is this is my life right now. But that's just a little update on where we're at. Thank you for watching this video. I will make another video at some point. I'll try and get at least one out a week. I'll think about different topics to talk about, because honestly, I've done a lot of thinking over the last few months, you know, and there's a lot I can talk about. So thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. Come back for more vlogs. Maybe I'll go somewhere fun. Maybe I'll actually do a cool vlog. Maybe I'll think of a concept. Who knows? Subscribe to Thomas Rants so you can see me talk about WWE at some point, maybe, because it's quite shit right now. Music, definitely, that's coming. Maybe boxing, we'll see. And tankNiplz to see some games as well. So I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.